Welcome back. We're here to cover the second half of our webinar this afternoon, continuing on in this great book, the Early Learners Edition. I'd like to read a little something that I found that was really outlined what this Early Learners Edition was about, what the purpose of this Early Learners Edition is about. It's to express the importance of teaching positive morals to children from an early age and begin positive character development. This program can be used to teach early learners in every environment successfully. This afternoon, we're going to cover the who, what, why, when, how of this Early Learners Edition. And what we're going to do is, this afternoon I'd like to really start out with headlines. What do we see from our young adults and our children? What are the headlines we see in the news today? Does anybody have a headline that they've seen? Yes.
You see children going to school and shooting other children.
You see children going to school and shooting other children. Yes.
There was a video clip on the internet going around about the 9-year-old boy in the daycare, and he would beat up the smaller children.
A 9-year-old in daycare beating up other children. What else do we see in the news today? Headlines, anything that you've seen? Yes.
I remember seeing a video of, I think it was a 5-year-old girl, and she was so out of control in the classroom, they took her to the principal's office. She was so out of control there, they called the police, and they put her in handcuffs, and they took her away.
That's true. More and more often, we're seeing examples of children being handcuffed because they are so unruly that they're uncontrollable. They have no self-control. And they're being brought to a detainment center, which is not properly set up to handle children. Yes, what have you heard?
Bullies.
Bullies.
And they're even bullying the bus monitors.
Yes, bullying the bus monitors, bullying other children, not only face-to-face, but on the internet as well. Now, when we think about this, how can we tie all those examples that we've just talked about to that Early Learners Edition? How can we tie that back? Yes.
Whatever you teach them when they're small is what will stay with them the rest of their life.
That's right. Whatever they've been taught when they were very small stays with them and follows them the rest of their life. As parents, we tend to be their primary examples when they are very small of how to act, how to conduct ourselves properly out in society, at home. We are their teachers as they're just starting out very little. All of these examples that we've talked about are examples of children who have not had that wonderful opportunity of learning a basic moral foundation. They've never had that in their lives. Now, it could be because their parents didn't know how to teach it. They themselves probably were never taught at a young age. And they just couldn't pass that information on. It could be that they came from a home where there was alcoholism, where drugs were an everyday occurrence, and they just never learned those skills. We don't know. But we do know what we can do to protect our children so that they don't follow those same path roads that we see on the news. Because for every one positive article that you see out there, there are at least 10 negative articles on children that you see out there. Whether in the newspaper, whether in a magazine, wherever you look, it's negative, negative, negative. And you look at what the children have in their lives. You look at what their parents purchase for them. Is it building a positive moral character? Or is it really tearing it down? Video games that teach violence, music and videos, movies. Where is the positive moral character in those examples? We don't see that today. As parents, many hold down at least one job, maybe two, sometimes three, and children are often left alone to fend for themselves, placed in front of a television set, or whatever the case may be, with a babysitter. A violent movie? Maybe. Maybe it's a comedy. But does that comedy teach positive moral values? More often than not, it does not. Parents, for the most part, really love their children, and they want the best for them. They want to provide the best for them. But they really are stuck because they really don't know what is best. So they think, well, okay, maybe we need to learn our alphabet. And children at a very young age can do that. I've seen examples with colors of a child who is not even yet 1 year old, who if you put up 4 colors before them, the primary ones, yellow, green, red, and blue, and you ask them which one was a particular color, that child could pick it out 100% of the time. They are very smart. As our prior teacher mentioned, they really are smart, and they absorb like sponges. These children need more than their numbers. They need more than colors. They need more than an alphabet. What they need is that basic moral foundation that they're going to base their whole life upon. And this Early Learners Edition starts that process. It's not the finish of it, but it's just the very foundation. It's like these stack of blocks that we see before us right here. This is the very basic moral foundation. Everything else is built on those blocks. Right? If we were to pull out these bottom blocks all at the same time, what would occur? They'd fall down, right? So we've got to start young with our youngest children and start that basic foundation, because it's going to be what they use to base all of their decisions as they grow older. It's going to be what they use when they get in a situation where there's peer pressure. They're going to fall back on the very basic concepts that they've learned and then built upon as they've gotten older. This is the peaceful solution. Now, let me give you an example of self-control. When you think of self-control and a 2-year-old, what examples come to your mind? now come on. I want to have my way. Right? I'm going to have a temper tantrum. I want that cookie. Right? And my mind is set. I am focused. I am going for the cookie. Yep. Turn around, Mommy, so I can go get it. Ha-ha! Here I go. And I'm after the cookie, right? We see many examples of children with this look, right? What do you mean I can't have the cookie now? What do you mean I can't have my blogs? This is just one example of self-control. Right? Most often that's what we think about self-control being. But self-control is so much more than just that. Before a child can actually learn, they have to be able to sit for a length of time. And that is a skill that does not come naturally. You take your basic little child from the moment they wake up in the morning and their feet hit the floor, they are gone, right? They are out exploring. What can I get into now? I have seen little children that have successfully pulled out the kitchen drawers, lined them up in such a way that they could use them as a stepladder to climb onto the counter to get to the cupboard to get the snack they wanted. And been successful, too. Children at a very young age, they learn by touch, by taste. As you well know, everything with a little child goes in the mouth, right? As parents, teachers, educators, we really need to pay attention and to watch our children, because it's so easy for them to choke at a very young age. But that's how they learn. They are called tactile learners. And this is how they actually learn, is by touching, by feeling, by doing, by being involved. Their eyes are constantly moving. They are learning. They are watching us as adults to find the right and proper way that they should do it, and then they copy us. So as adults, we need to mirror this peaceful solution to them. Take a look at this little self-control here. We have two little girls that are very busy coloring a picture. One is 1.5 years, and the other is 2.5. Now, as you can see, boy, they are intent on coloring their pictures. This is self-control, because they are both sitting down and they are both coloring. Now, the older one is practicing a new skill in self-control. She is learning to color within the lines, and that takes work for a 2.5-year-old. But she is doing her very best to stay within the lines. The 1.5-year-old, she's still focusing on sitting still. Coloring within the lines is not in her vocabulary. You'll notice they'll take a crayon and it's like, ah! I colored it, see? But this is an example of self-control. The peaceful solution, when it's taught, is such a great tool because it helps them to develop that level of self-control. They want to sit. You announce that it's time for peaceful solution class, and those children will be right in their seats. They will be lining up because they love the peaceful solution. And they love learning about character traits. Respect. Here is a lesson. It's lesson number 4. And it talks about respect. And it gives them a simple definition. The definition in this Early Learners edition is to show care and concern. Now, this is not something we teach once, and that's it. But it's something that we show throughout the day. Because conflicts will arise throughout the day with younger children. But through continual practice, over and over and over again, bringing in the lesson plans that you've been reading and you've been teaching, then they show respect, slowly but surely. As in this example down here, where care is being shown. The older sister is comforting her little sister. She's probably a year and a half in this picture, maybe a little over a year and a half, and she's not quite a year. So we see them, and she's, "Are you okay?" Right? And they'll do that with each other. What they see you do, they're going to do. You don't have to be a teacher to use this program. It's very, very easy to use. It goes step by step, teaching you exactly what you need to say. It provides you with the words that they're going to learn, the definitions they're going to learn. It provides you with activities, suggested activities. It's a very great tool, a very great resource for them. Now, as parents, we may think, well, I don't know. I've never ever taught anything before in my life. You can teach using this book. But it's not limited to parents. You can use it at a daycare center, a nursery school, a homeschool environment with several children. It can be used anywhere. There are 8 easy-to-follow lesson plans. And we're going to go over those lesson plans today. It starts out with the purpose and the objective, which is just 1 to 2 sentences that tell you exactly what you're going to be learning within this lesson plan. There's a list of materials that you need. Now, the great thing about the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program is that 99% of the materials are provided for you. They have some great resources. And here is an example of a discussion card. And we see this little girl that we're learning about honesty. And there are 2 pictures. It's a discussion card, but you aren't left on your own to know what to teach, because on the back of this card are the questions that you can use to teach honesty to your children or to the children that you're caring for, such as, what do you see in this picture? A little girl, a woman, a plate of cookies. What do you see close to the little girl's mouth? Chocolate. How do you think the chocolate got on her face? See, these are all examples of questions that help to develop those reasoning skills that children need to learn at a young age. Because every child is going to try to get away with the cookie. From time to time. Can you tell from the look on the girl's face that she wasn't supposed to take the cookie? Yeah. Even as adults, we wear this look sometimes. This girl is not telling the truth, is she? She's not being honest. This is a discussion card, an example. There are character word cards. that are so important for these children at this young age to learn. Please. Universal word that we, as parents, really need to teach our children, that should be reinforced in any type of learning environment. Please, may I. Ties in with the word ask, with the word respect, with recognizing ownership, helping the children to stop, to think about what they're doing, just like this little baby is doing. You mean I got to learn all that in the Peaceful Solution class? May I? You're never too young to learn. Thank you. Thank you. Isn't that a great little phrase? And it'll bring a smile to any parent's face when their children say thank you, or to any adult's face when they hear the words please and thank you. If you'll notice, these cards are in color. They're bright. Children love color. And they love to see these words, and they'll ask you over and over and over again to show them the pictures on the discussion cards. The picture cue cards, for example. The mechanic and the teacher. Right? There's beautiful pictures there. What do they use? Who uses the classroom supplies? Does the mechanic use the classroom supplies? No. Who uses the tools? Does the teacher use the tools? No. Who uses the tools? And what you're doing is getting them to stop and to think about the answer that they're going to give. And it takes next to no time, and they'll be matching up the answers. They'll know. Not only do we get that, we have in lesson 2 colors, because it is important. Green, red, everything's in color for these children, because color is something that they're drawn to. That's why we see nurseries painted in bright yellow, with bright greens and reds and blues, because children are just drawn to those colors. Something they love. Red. Oh, most children, that's their preferred color when they're little. They love red. As you go through, these are all tools that will guide you along the way. They stimulate questions and discussion. Children will ask questions. Well, what do you think is occurring here? Where is this going? Why are they doing this? Again, those discussion cards will give you questions that will help you with that. Now, there are hands-on activities for those tactile learners, those children who want to just color and cut and paste and glue. There's everything for them. And there's a CD that accompanies this program as well. And in it are some wonderful examples of narratives, poems, songs that can be used to help build those skills that they're learning. I've seen so many examples. I'll tell you, I've been teaching Peaceful Solution now for, it's over 10 years. And I've taught every age group. Children love these stories. In fact, they love them so much that they will say them word for word along with you as you read them to them. Has anybody used any of the Peaceful Solution in either a home environment or in a daycare situation? Do I have anybody who would like to come up and give a testimony? to what they've seen. Yes.
Well, when I started, the early learner program wasn't out, and my youngest was like kindergarten level. So I started with the K through 1 with both of my daughters. And the first lesson that we did was on the importance of asking. And by the time we got to the end of the lesson, I realized that I needed the books more than they did, because I had never thought about it on the level that the Peaceful Solution goes into, because I never thought anything of picking up someone else's pencil, especially if it was, my friend, and using it without ever asking, because I didn't even think about the fact that that was her possession and I was stealing it. So it goes into a much deeper level than I would have thought, and I learned as much as they did, if not more.
Thank you very much. Anybody else like to give a short example? Come on up. Yeah.
I haven't been teaching it that long, just about as long as it's been out. When she was younger, I used to take her to like the Mommy and Me group, and I noticed that she would mimic what the other children were doing, whether it be positive or negative. So I knew that I needed this program and I needed to start implementing it, so that a way when she did get around people that had negative character traits or were taking things without asking, so that a way she could help to teach them as well.
Well, thank you very much. That was great. That was great. This Early Learners Edition, as I said, provides that basic moral foundation for the children that they really, really need to get that first step in life. Now, I've seen many parents say, well, I teach moral values at home. I don't want my children learning moral values. But let's tie that back to what we first started out with, the examples from the news. Those children never had that opportunity to have that basic moral structure in their lives. Your children may learn those basic moral values, but they will go to school with children who have not. Your child, with its basic moral values, may be the victim of a school shooting because this other child never had that opportunity. And I tell you today that every child, I don't care what situation it is, from here within the United States and anywhere you choose around this whole world, deserves that opportunity to have the Peaceful Solution Character Education program in their lives. They need that structure. This whole earth has lost its ability to function in a moral way. As parents, as adults, it's our job to spread this message of peace that we have, starting with this one little book, throughout the whole world. I'd like to thank you for your time today. It's been an honor to be able to speak before you. If you have any questions, or if you are interested in the Peaceful Solution material, I invite you to visit our little store that we have here. If you're watching on the television, or if you're watching through the internet, we have a website, www.peacefulsolution.org. I invite you to visit that website. We have plenty of material and sample lessons out there for you to look at. Try it. You'll find it'll make a big difference in your life and the lives of those you truly care about. Try it today. Don't wait. Don't put it off. Try it now. Thank you very much.